Hello, if you're watching this video, you've likely just purchased a new ecobee smart thermostat with voice control, an exciting step on the path to improving the comfort in your home. First things first, let me introduce myself. I'm a Reliance smart home technician, and while many of our customers typically book in-home consultation with a trained technician like me, we realize that that's not always possible. Instead, I'm here to take you step by step through the setup and operation of your new thermostat, one of the most user-friendly models on the market today. And just in case, don't forget to bookmark this video so you can refer to it later. All right, let's begin. As a first step, you'll want to download the ecobee app to your phone or other smart device. The app offers instructions, step-by-step videos, and diagrams customized to your wiring setup. It'll also allow you to control your thermostat from anywhere, using your phone, tablet, or other smart device. And though you don't necessarily need to download the app to use the ecobee smart thermostat, it does give you access to some useful features, including the ability to change your comfort settings while you're on the go, as well as insights into your monthly energy consumption. Your new ecobee smart thermostat features built-in technology that makes it incredibly easy to use. To see this in action, approach the thermostat and the display will wake up, or use your fingertip to navigate through options on the touchscreen. To select or activate items on the screen, simply touch the item on the display. To access additional information, swipe up or down. To scroll horizontal lists that contain multiple choices, swipe left or right. And finally, to exit a submenu, touch the back arrow. And you can close the main menu by touching the down arrow. On the main screen, you'll see a large number displayed in the center. This is the current indoor temperature. The smaller percentage value just above that indicates the current relative humidity in your home. The small value in a bubble to the right indicates your comfort settings, which are the preferred temperatures you've set for your home. You'll also see a handful of symbols surrounding these values. Here's a quick outline of the other symbols on the screen. Rest assured, we'll return to each of these as we go through the setup of your new ecobee smart thermostat. Moving clockwise from the 12 o'clock position, this top symbol represents your current HVAC system mode. The options are heat, cool, auto, and fan off, or any accessories you may choose to connect, such as a humidifier. We've already introduced you to the ideal temperature, which we call the comfort setting. To adjust the preferred temperature in your home, simply move this slider up and down. If the temperature slider isn't visible on your home screen, check whether your thermostat is in system mode by selecting Menu, then System on the display screen. Your new smart thermostat comes with an Amazon smart speaker built in. This microphone icon just below the comfort settings slider allows you to adjust your voice controls, including configuring the volume for the speaker with the sliding scale, muting the speaker by touching off, and asking questions or giving commands to Amazon Alexa by touching the push-to-talk button. This is especially useful if background noise is making it difficult for the speaker to pick up your voice. Next is the gear symbol, or quick changes icon. This allows you to quickly adjust the operation of your new ecobee smart thermostat as well as components of your HVAC equipment. Touch the quick changes icon and you'll see the current time and date, home for now and away for now buttons, a fan button, any other equipment you've set up to work with your thermostat, such as a humidifier or an ERV or HRV, as well as icons to indicate whether heat, cool, fan, or other accessories are actively running. To override your programmed schedules, touch either Home for Now or Away for Now buttons. To cancel this override action, touch the message box that pops up on the home screen that shows a house symbol with the words "and holding." And note that when either Home for Now or Away for Now mode, your schedule will not resume, and your thermostat will stay in either home or away mode until you manually cancel the override. To have the fan run continuously, touch on the fan in auto toggle button, or touch auto to run the fan according to the minimum run time setting, which we'll set up shortly. And if you have a humidifier, ventilator, ERV, or HRV accessory installed, touch on their respective toggles to run the device for 20 minutes. Next up, in the 6 o'clock position, the sun symbol allows you to access the local weather forecast. To display the local weather forecast for the day and the week, simply touch this icon. Note, to receive the local weather forecast, you'll need to register your new thermostat. And finally, the symbol with 3 stacked lines is the main menu. This is where the bulk of customizations take place, including adjusting your temperature schedule, settings, and more. Now, if you see a dot on this icon, you'll know that you have an important message waiting for you to read. And we'll cover this in greater detail later, but for now, know that you can access these messages by selecting the main menu icon, then touching reminders and alerts, then either reminders or alerts depending on which one has the message. Typically, the installer will configure your new ecobee Smart Thermostat to work with various HVAC accessories, including humidifiers, heat pumps, ERVs, and HRVs. However, we're going to take you through the configuration process for the most common accessory used by Canadians, a humidifier. Humidifiers can be configured as evaporative or steam. The difference is that evaporative humidifiers require a heat source, and as a result, won't turn on outside of a heating cycle. Steam humidifiers, on the other hand, can run outside of a heating cycle since they're capable of adding moisture to the air on their own. To edit your humidifier's configuration, from the main menu on the home screen, touch Settings, then Installation Settings. Touch Equipment, and then Humidifier. You'll see the two different types of humidifiers listed, evaporative and steam. Make sure that the correct one is chosen based on your HVAC system. You'll also see a drop-down menu for window efficiency. This setting is involved in configuring your home's humidity set point. That is, the point at which the humidifier kicks in. Go ahead and select a value here from 1 to 7 for how efficient your home windows are, 1 being the least and 7 being the most efficient. Let's go on to configure your home's humidity level now. Hit the back arrow until you get to the main menu again. Touch System and then Humidifier. Here you can select On to set a specific humidity set point. Or you can select Frost Control, which will enable your thermostat to automatically maintain the humidity in your home within a comfortable range, while at the same time preventing condensation or frost from building up on your windows and walls. The Frost Control function is based on your window efficiency rating, which we set up in the last major step. But if you need to navigate there, again, here's how. From the main menu, touch Settings and then Installation Settings, then Equipment, Humidifier, and finally, Window Efficiency. Once you've set this configuration, simply hit the back arrow until you arrive back at the home screen. After you've completed these initial setup steps, you'll be prompted to give your new device a name. This will appear in the ecobee app and web portal, so make sure you pick a name that makes it easy to identify. You can either select a name from the list or enter your own custom name using the on-screen keyboard. Touch Next once completed to continue. Now let's set up your thermostat's Wi-Fi configuration. Alternatively, if you don't want the ecobee to connect to the internet, touch Skip and confirm the action by pressing Next. The ecobee Smart Thermostat offers two different ways to configure your Wi-Fi network settings. Number one, if you have an Apple iPad, iPod, iPhone, or Mac computer, you can use the Wireless Accessory Configuration, or WAC, to set up your Wi-Fi password. This is most convenient as you don't need to remember your password or type it in. From the Wi-Fi configuration screen, choose Use iPhone, iPad, or iPod. Then follow the instructions displayed on the touchscreen. Once this is complete, Connection Completed will be displayed on the touchscreen and Setup Complete on your Apple device. This means that you'll now be connected to the same Wi-Fi network as your device. There's a second option if you don't have an Apple device. With this process, you'll find your network and manually set the password. Touch Next to access your network settings, and you'll see a list of all visible Wi-Fi networks, along with their signal strength. If you see your network in the list, follow these steps. Select your network, touch Next, then enter your password when prompted. Meanwhile, if you don't see your network in the list, follow these steps. Select My Network is not visible and touch Next. Enter your network password and you'll be prompted to set up your Wi-Fi manually. Identify whether it's a static IP or otherwise, the network SSID name, the encryption type, etc. After connecting to the internet, your new smart thermostat will register itself with the ecobee servers and provide you with a 4-digit registration code. Be sure to write this down as you'll need it when registering your new thermostat, either through the ecobee app or the web portal. And touch Next to continue. Now we'll set the current date and time. This is important because it'll allow your new ecobee smart thermostat scheduling features to work properly. If you choose to configure your Wi-Fi, follow these steps from the date and time screen. Touch Time Zone. Select the country you live in from the list and touch Next. Select your time zone by picking the name of the nearest community from the list. Touch Next, and touch Next again to continue. Alternatively, if you choose to leave your Wi-Fi unconfigured, touch Date, slide up and down to set the current date, then touch Save. Touch Time, slide up and down to set the current time, then touch Save. Touch Time Zone, select the country you live in from the list, then touch Next. Select your time zone by picking the name of the nearest community from the list, then touch Next. And finally, touch Next again to continue. Your new ecobee Smart Thermostat adjusts to how your home and HVAC equipment perform. Intelligent algorithms combine weather data, your equipment run times, and occupancy schedules to optimize performance and help with energy savings. This way, you'll be comfortable when you're at home and can also save money on your energy bills while you're away. The ecobee comes with wireless smart sensors, including one that's built into your thermostat and another that's external. These detect motion and temperature in different rooms, which helps the system to determine whether you're at home or not and adjust temperature levels accordingly. In addition, the sensors can activate your thermostat's energy savings mode when you're out of the house, which can help you to reduce your energy consumption. When you touch sensors on the main menu, you'll see all the sensors that are connected to your thermostat, whether the rooms they're located in are occupied or not, and the temperatures in each of those rooms. Let's adjust the sensor settings. You've got two options here. The first, Smart Home Away, makes all of the sensors in your network follow your schedule unless there's a conflict. Like if you're at home at a time of day or when you've scheduled your thermostat to think you're away. In such cases, you can program the Smart Home Away mode to automatically override your schedule. To maximize comfort, that's Smart Home, and savings, Smart Away. To adjust the Smart Home Away mode, select Sensors on the main menu, select and then touch Smart Home Away, touch Enable to have your sensors and thermostat detect motion. And note, this will automatically toggle the mode based on whether you're at home or away. On the other hand, if you prefer that your thermostat strictly follow your programmed schedule and not toggle based on the sensors, touch Disable to deactivate the sensor. Touch Next to continue. The second sensor mode, Follow Me, applies to a select group of sensors in your network, including the one that's built into the thermostat itself. When you enable Follow Me mode, these select sensors detect motion in your house. The room in which motion was detected provide the benchmark temperature reading that the ecobee uses to decide when to operate your HVAC system. And if more than one sensor detects motion, the average of these sensors will be used. Meanwhile, when Follow Me mode is disabled, your ecobee Smart Thermostat will continuously use the average temperature readings from the sensors you've selected as the desired temperature for your HVAC system. So for instance, say you have a room in your home that's far away from your thermostat and you want this room to be at the thermostat's set temperature, regardless of whether anyone's in that room. In this case, you would put a sensor in that room, and when you disable the Follow Me settings, you would only select that room. Your ecobee would then use that temperature in that specific room to decide when to operate your HVAC system. To change Follow Me mode, select Sensors in the main menu, then choose Follow Me. Touch Enable or Disable, depending on the action you want. If enabling, next you'll select which sensors are affected by touching each checkbox listed on the screen. Then touch the back arrow to return to the previous menu. Alright, now that we've configured all of the background settings to keep your new ecobee Smart Thermostat up to date and connected, it's time to get the various functions set up. First, we'll choose the HVAC system mode. That is, the components like your furnace, air conditioner, or other equipment that you want running at various times throughout the day and night. Touch the stacked lines symbol for the main menu, and then touch the wrench symbol, which is the system button. You now have the option to choose Heat or Cool, Auto, which allows your HVAC system to activate the heating or cooling as required to keep your home within the configured range of set temperatures, or Off, which is for times when you don't want the system to run at all. A couple things to note here. One, when in off mode, only the current temperature will be displayed on the home screen. Two, even when your thermostat is in off mode, your fan will run for its minimum runtime, which we'll set next. Touch the fan menu in the System tab and you'll see the minimum fan runtime setting. This indicates how long your HVAC system fan will run at any given time while in auto mode. Ranging from 0 to 55 minutes, the longer the runtime, the better air circulation you will have in your home and the more consistent the temperature will be, while also being more cost-effective than having your fan in fan-on mode all time. To adjust the minimum runtime, simply swipe left or right to adjust the value. Finally, touch the back arrow to save your settings and return to the previous screen. Now let's configure your ideal temperatures, also called comfort settings. These will be used to generate your home's default comfort settings. On the main display, move the comfort setting bubble, located at 3 o'clock on the display, up or down, and choose the normal temperature you'd like for your home during winter and summer. Your set temperature will appear below the main temperature display with the word holding. And here there's no need to touch next or save, as any changes to the temperature sliding will be saved automatically. If you ever want to override your comfort settings, say you want a blast of air conditioning to cool your house when you return home on an especially hot day, move the bubble on the slider down to a value that's lower than the main temperature reading. That new temperature will become the comfort setting for the hold, which means that your system will stay at that temperature through the last configured period of time. The default period for hold is until the next scheduled activity, which means that it'll keep the temperature until the next scheduled change kicks in. To adjust the default hold time period, go to the main menu, select Settings, then Preferences, select Hold Action. Next, choose an option from the list, 2 hours, 4 hours, until the next scheduled activity, until I change it, or decide at time of change. Otherwise, if you want to cancel a current hold, touch anywhere in the hold message box displayed on the home screen. Now let's go back to the main menu and explore some other useful features and functionality. Your new ecobee Smart Thermostat organizes your temperature and fan settings into 3 configurable comfort settings that fit your schedule and comfort needs while also maximizing energy savings. On your thermostat's touchscreen, select the main menu icon and then the armchair symbol, which is comfort settings. You'll see. Home, which is the normal setting for when you're at home. Away, which is for when you're not at home. And finally, sleep, which is the setting you'd most likely use when you're at home and asleep. From the comfort settings button in the main menu, touch the specific comfort setting that you want to customize. Adjust the temperature values up or down for heat and cool, as well as fan mode as required. Within this setup, you can also choose the smart sensor that you'd like to use to monitor temperature and movement in the room where it's set up. Then touch Save to confirm. Want to delete a comfort setting? Touch the Schedule button, which is the calendar symbol in the main menu. Then select the comfort setting you want to delete. Touch the trash can symbol to confirm. Alternatively, say you want to hit a particular temperature in the morning versus the afternoon, you can add a comfort setting through the ecobee app. Now that we've set up your comfort settings, let's set your weekly schedule. On your ecobee display, select the main menu, then touch the calendar symbol again for the schedule function. Then touch the day of the week that you want to adjust. Select an existing schedule activity to edit, or create a new activity by touching the plus symbol. Choose the start time and swipe to select the new time value. And note, you can only select time values that are at least 30 minutes after the previous activity to 30 minutes before the next scheduled activity, meaning you can't overlap activity times. Now touch Save. At this point, if you've added a new activity, you'll need to select the comfort setting to use with this activity. And once you've chosen this, touch Save again. Now touch the back arrow to return to the schedule screen, where you can make additional changes as required to other scheduled times and temperatures. And here's a great time-saving hint. You can copy the entire schedule from one day to another in one easy step. So for instance, if you'd like your schedule to be consistent across all of the weekdays, simply select the first day you've set up. Touch the Copy button, select the days to apply the changes to, selecting more than one if you'd like to copy to several days at a time, and then touch Save. It's as easy as that. Here's another useful setting that'll also help to improve your energy savings. If you're heading on vacation, touch the airplane symbol in the main menu. This is the vacation function, which allows you to set and manage your thermostat settings during your vacation period and will override your programmed schedule, so no need to adjust regularly scheduled settings. To set your vacation schedule, touch main menu on the display screen and then touch the vacation symbol. Touch the plus symbol to create a new vacation event. And now you'll select your vacation schedule, including the start and end date and time, enter the departure date and time, then touch the back arrow. Select the vacation setting and select Heat or Cool to enable or disable the respective HVAC components during the vacation event. Now your ecobee thermostat is so smart that it displays important reminders and alerts to help you know if you need to attend to your HVAC system, perform periodic maintenance, or if the temperature in your home goes over or under a pre-programmed level. A very useful feature that can protect your home from damage due to freezing or excessive heat. Note, you can also receive reminders and alerts by email, but to do so, your thermostat must be connected to the internet via Wi-Fi, and you must have created an ecobee account with a valid email address. To view reminders, from the main menu, touch Reminders and Alerts, then Reminders. Touch the specific reminder you want to view, and if you act upon it, say it tells you that you need to change your furnace filter, and you go ahead and do that, you can clear the reminder by touching Filter Lamp Changed. Otherwise, to exit a viewed reminder, touch the back arrow. To view alerts, which are typically more urgent than reminders, you'll see a white pop-up on the home screen display. Once you've read it, tap OK. Or you can clear it on the app as well. Alternatively, to see the full list of alerts, start at the main menu, touch Reminders and Alerts, then Alerts. Touch the specific alert you want to view, then touch OK to return to the alert list. Want to configure your reminder and alert preferences so you can decide how and when ecobee communicates with you? It's easy. All you have to do is select the main menu from the home screen, then touch Reminders and Alerts, then Preferences. From here, you've got the option to adjust more than a dozen different notification types, although these will depend on your HVAC equipment and which accessories are connected to your thermostat. We'll cover the 7 most common ones here. The HVAC maintenance reminder will alert you when regularly scheduled maintenance is required. This will be displayed on the screen, but if you've registered your thermostat, you'll also be emailed a reminder and it will display in the web portal too. Configuration options include setting the last service date, turning the reminder on or off, and setting the frequency of maintenance intervals. The furnace filter reminder will alert you when it's time to clean or replace the filter in your furnace, if one is installed. Configuration options include setting the last filter change date, turning the reminder on or off, and setting the frequency of maintenance intervals. Display alerts on thermostat allows you to decide whether you want alert to be displayed on your thermostat screen. Toggle to disable if you'd like to shut this off. Do note though that you'll still receive alerts via email unless you disable this feature as well, and they'll still be displayed on the web portal too. Enable heating cooling alerts lets you receive alerts when heat or cool errors occur and your HVAC system fails to kick in. Select Disable to stop these alerts from displaying on your thermostat screen, in the web portal, and in email. The low temperature alert will inform you when your system has reached the low temperature threshold. The range can be between 35 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 1.5 to 20 degrees Celsius. Toggle this feature using Enable Disable to configure whether the alert shows on your thermostat or not. Similarly, the high temp alert will inform you when your system has reached the high temperature threshold. The range can be between 60 and 104 degrees Fahrenheit or 15.5 and 40 degrees Celsius. Toggle the Enable Disable function to show these alerts on the display screen. Lost communication with sensor, low battery alerts will let you know when communication with your thermostat sensor is lost or if your sensor's batteries are low. The rest of the reminders and alerts that I'll run through now are incredibly useful and can even save you time and money in energy consumption, maintenance, and repairs on your HVAC system. However, these may not all be relevant to you, depending on the accessories you've connected to your thermostat. Feel free to fast forward past this point. The ventilator filter reminder will alert you when it's time to clean or replace the filter in your ventilator if one is installed and it's connected to your thermostat. Configuration options include setting the last filter change date, turning the reminder on or off, and setting the frequency of maintenance intervals. The UV lamp reminder will alert you when it's time to clean or replace the bulb in your UV lamp if you have one installed and it's connected to your thermostat. Configuration options include setting the last lamp change date, turning the reminder on or off, and setting the frequency of maintenance intervals. The auxiliary heat runtime alert lets you know when any auxiliary heat source has been running for longer than the accepted threshold. The threshold window can be set from 30 minutes to 8 hours. If you disable this feature, no alert will be generated. The auxiliary outdoor temperature alert will generate an alert if an auxiliary heat pump kicks in when the outdoor temperature exceeds the programmed set point of between 32 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 to 26.5 degrees Celsius. The low humidity alert lets you know when the level of relative indoor humidity has dropped below a certain threshold. The high humidity alert, on the other hand, lets you know when your relative indoor humidity level has gone over a certain threshold. You can set either threshold between 5 and 95%. If you toggle these alerts to off, no alert will be generated. With that, you've completed the setup of your new ecobee Smart Thermostat, one of the most fully functioned and easy to use thermostats around. And don't forget, if you have any trouble with setting up or using your ecobee Smart Thermostat, be sure to contact Reliance Home Comfort, because at Reliance, We're not comfortable until you are.